Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought that I would sit down with y'all and sip on my Coca-Cola and share with you another horror story where God saved my life. So if you enjoy this kind of thing, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Stay subscribed to my channel and ring the bell so that you get notified whenever I post a video. And let's jump into it. Okay, so a little background for you. This happened in the wee hours of the morning on July 22nd of 2020. So this was the day that I was going to be moving away from the state I lived in where my ex was also living. And that was the day I was gonna move away from there and move here to where I live now. Yeah, so if you didn't know, moving is very stressful, obviously, but they say that it is up there with like the death of a loved one and the amount of stress that it can cause. Obviously, not in the same way as the death of a loved one, but it is very, very stressful, emotionally, physically, all of it. So it stands to reason that this happened. So this is another little background info on me that you guys need to know is just that I'm very prone to getting sick from a lot of stress or just doing too many things, even if it's not stress. For example, the week before my wedding, I got very sick and I threw up, and that's just a thing that I deal with. And I'll be making another video about the diagnosis and why I'm like this, because there is a medical diagnosis for it. But I do get sick sometimes from stress or doing too many things. And that's whether it's, you know, throwing up or a really bad headache, like a migraine or something. That is just something that I deal with. And I've learned to watch my physical activity and not do too many things. And I've learned kind of how to control that. But this particular day, I was moving. It stands to reason that I got a stress illness. So this is where the chaos sort of begins. This was about, I forget exactly what time, but it was like after midnight. It was probably 2 a.m. or something. I woke up in the middle of the night with a terrible, terrible headache. So I just got up and I took a pain pill, not Excedrin, but it's something else with acetaminophen in it. And it also has something in it to help you sleep. So it'll help with the pain and it'll help you sleep it off. So I took one of those, and I don't remember exactly, but I know Bethany, who you've seen in previous videos, she and her little brother were down there to help me move. I didn't mention that, but they were there to help me move. I had packed up most of my stuff already, and they were there to help me to get a U-Haul and move everything to the new state where I was going to be living. So she was sleeping with me in my bed, and her little brother was sleeping in our room, just because I had like not weird roommates to the point where I felt unsafe or anything, but it was just, she just wanted to be in the room with us, and that was fine. So she was sleeping with me in my bed, and I don't know if she woke up at this point or not. I don't really remember, but I just got up, took a pain pill, and I went back to sleep for a couple hours. And normally with a migraine, I end up, you know, vomiting, and it's a while before I actually get back to sleep. So I didn't really think much of it. I kind of just went back to sleep. And then a couple hours later, I woke up again. So this is probably like 4 in the morning or something. I'm not exactly sure, but all of this happened like in the middle of the night. And I'm pretty sure it was after midnight because we stayed up late going to the pool that night and stuff. So I'm pretty sure this was after midnight, but before 5 a.m. So I woke up again, and I still had the pain, and I started to feel nauseous. And this is for sure when Bethany woke up, if she hadn't already woken up before. And I don't remember if I woke her up or if she woke up on her own, but she's dealt with migraines and headaches before, so she kind of knew how to help. So she told me to get in the bath, not like a hot bath, not an ice bath, but like a cool bath, and that could help me feel better. And I figured out pretty quickly that if I didn't quite sit all the way up and didn't quite lay all the way down, if I was a little bit just kind of at a slant, that helped alleviate some of the pain. But it was still really bad. And she also got me some citrus. I think it was like pineapple juice, because I will say we had been drinking the night before, but I'm going to clarify, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink a lot. I had like 2 11-ounce or whatever it is, the bottles of Smirnoff. I had 2 of those. They have 5% alcohol. I was not blackout drunk. I never have been. I don't support that lifestyle. Like, no offense if that's you, but I would rather remember what I did the night before instead of pass out and forget about it. So I was being wise with the alcohol, but just in case that's what I was sick from, she got me citrus juice, and I took another pill. And I don't remember for sure if I'd already thrown up before I got in the tub or not, but this is where it starts to really get crazy. So basically, the layout of the tub, there's the tub, and next to me on the left is the toilet. So right where my head was is kind of where the toilet was. So technically, I probably could have leaned out of the tub and thrown up into the toilet, but I thought it was better to just get out because I felt so sick that I was like, I just don't want to take any chances. I got out of the tub and like put a towel on, and I threw up in the toilet. And I don't remember all the nitty-gritties. I don't remember if I threw up multiple times before it got crazy, but this is the part that sticks out to me. So basically what happened was I threw up, and even though it had been a while since I'd really eaten anything, I still had a lot of like stomach bile. I'm sorry if this is TMI, but yeah, there might be some TMI in this video. Feel free to click out. If vomit talk is gross to you, feel free to click out. I won't be offended. But basically, there was still a lot of stomach bile, so I ended up aspirating. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's when you inhale something into your lungs. And I think it can be used to describe like other substances, but most commonly it's used to refer to vomit. If you inhale some vomit and it gets into your lungs. So that's what happened. So I inhale vomit. I had thrown up, and then I guess mid throw up, I inhaled, and some of the vomit went down my lungs. Now, when I say I couldn't breathe, I mean it. This wasn't like, oh, I could barely breathe, or I could only breathe a little bit, or I was struggling to breathe. No, I could not breathe. I'm talking my airway was completely blocked. And in that moment, I just thought to myself, this is it. I'm gonna die right now. This is it. I'm gonna die, and I'm just gonna be here naked in a towel, and my friends are just gonna find me in the morning, and they're gonna have to put 2 and 2 together with what happened, and they're gonna have to call my mom. Like, that's where my mind was going, okay? I was like, this is it. Like, my life was flashing before my eyes, and I thought I was gonna die. I know this sounds crazy. This sounds utterly ridiculous. I never would have thought of putting throwing up and near-death experience in the same sentence, but I legitimately thought I was gonna die. And if you're thinking, oh, why didn't you call for help? Yeah, I would have loved to have called for help, but I couldn't draw a breath to say anything. All I could do in that moment, the first thought that popped into my head was prayer. All I could do was think the name of God in my head. I just said, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And I must have thought that name 6 or 7 or even 8 times before I was finally able to draw a measly little breath and start coughing and crying and honestly just thanking God for my life. And yes, I get emotional thinking about this and talking about this because this isn't something, I don't think that we think about dying from aspirating, but aspirating is very real. I've aspirated before and it didn't affect me very much. But this, I mean it when I say I almost died. God spared my life that day. I 5,000% believe that. If this had gone differently, I would not be here right now telling you guys about this. And yeah, I ended up just, I might have thrown up one more time after that. I don't honestly remember, but I just basically went back to bed, slept it off, and the next morning I told everybody what had happened. And Bethany, she already knew I'd been sick because she'd been helping me, but I told her about the aspirating. She left, I think, to go get Starbucks or something. I asked her for Gatorade and a ginger ale. And then her little brother, I told him what had happened. He slept through the whole thing, which, another thing about me, I'm very vocal when I vomit. I'll just say that. I'm vocal. It wakes up the whole house. It's a miracle that he slept through it. I was like, seriously, you didn't wake up? And he was like, oh, I heard some yelling in my dream. Maybe that was you throwing up. So he didn't hear any of it, but they were both very glad that I was okay. And yeah, so that's pretty much, that's pretty much how that went down. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely like a defining experience in my life where I realized you can never be too sure. Like I said, I've aspirated before and nothing happened. I was on the way home from a vacation where I got sick. It was a stress-induced thing, and I was reclining in the back seat not the back seat, but the front seat. I was reclining, and I didn't sit up to puke. And the only reason I know I aspirated is because I ended up with pneumonia, and I was sick in the hospital for like 3 days. But honestly, being hospitalized for these stress illnesses is normal to me. I typically have to get fluids and anti-nausea meds to get well because I get dehydrated, and then I vomit because I'm dehydrated. Again, there will be more on this in another video, but that's the only way I can even figure that I aspirated, because I didn't feel a thing. I just ended up with pneumonia and I wasn't around anybody sick. So there's that. But I've learned, if anything, my takeaway from this also is that aspirating doesn't have as much to do with your posture as I thought it did. Obviously, lying down isn't gonna help anything, but honestly, even if you're standing upright, you can't control your throwing up. You can't just, oh, wait a second, and then throw up like you can with coughing. If you're in the midst of throwing up and you run out of air, you're just gonna breathe and you might inhale some of it. It's really hard to control that. And I was, this time that I aspirated and almost died, I was fairly upright. I was kneeling in front of the toilet, so I was a little bit hunched, but I wasn't, completely slumping or lying down, and I still aspirated horribly. So definitely, if this is you, if you're prone to this type of thing, a pro tip that I would give you, something that I've learned and that I always do now, is I always have someone there with me in case this happens. I've told my husband, I'm like, I'm sorry if this is gross to you, but you need to be there so that I can do the choke symbol if something happens, and you need to pound my back. Not like a little light, gentle smack smack. Like, I don't care if it hurts, because this could be a matter of life and death. You need to pound my back. So I never, if I'm sick and I know I'm gonna start throwing up, whether it's a migraine or one of the stress-induced illnesses, I do not throw up without anyone else in the room. Never again will I do that, because life is short, and you know, life is a gift, and I don't want to take any risks anymore. That was honestly terrifying. And yeah, it was just I honestly just don't even have, I hardly have words for what happened. But I am thankful every day that God spared my life that day. And I know this sounds silly, and I never would have thought you could die as a result of like vomiting gone wrong. Like, I never would have thought that would be a thing, but this was very real. This was absolutely, aspirating is not a joke. Like, I always knew there could be problems if you aspirate. Like, I knew you could give yourself pneumonia, and pneumonia is bad. I didn't think about aspirating to the point where you can't breathe and you die. Like, I didn't know that was even a thing, and I'm just really grateful that I pulled through that, and that I survived, and my friends didn't have to call my mom and tell me I was gone, you know? This is also living proof that the name of God is a very powerful thing, and I don't know what you all viewers believe religiously. Some people think, oh, it's just the universe looking out for me. I 5,000% believe that God had a hand on me that day, and God saved my life, and the name of God is a very powerful thing, and God is faithful to hear our prayers even when we can't say anything. So let this be, let this teach you. Learn from this. If you think, oh, I have to be able to talk, to pray, or I have to speak out loud. No, you don't. God hears everything, or I wouldn't be here today. I am living proof that God will answer prayer even if you can't say anything. And yeah, so there you go. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if that was kind of all over the place or something, but yeah, that is it. That is another story of how the Lord was kind enough to spare my life and give me more time on this earth. And I am very grateful for my life, and I just feel like I should share these experiences with other people. I feel like that is what God would want me to do, is to share these near-death experiences and how God spared me. So that is what I'm going to do with these experiences. I'm going to share them with everybody so that they can know how great of a God that I serve. And yeah, so thank you, Jesus, for saving me that day. And yeah, so that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, and I hope you did, please make sure to give this a thumbs up and comment down below if you have a similar story where you feel like God was watching out for you and spared your life. I would love to hear those stories in the comments. And make sure to stay subscribed to my channel and ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post future videos. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.